We're down to about 6 weeks until the election, so it's time to take a look at the recent polling. There's a lot here, so let's get right into the battleground polling on Real Clear Politics. And as of Sunday, across all 7 battleground states for president, it's dead even. Harris is up in 3 states, Nevada, and the 3 Rust Belt states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The highest is Michigan at 1.7, and the narrowest is Nevada at 0.2. Trump is ahead in Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. Georgia is his highest at 1.7. His lowest is North Carolina at just 0.1%. If we look at the timeline over the past week, we can see that Harris's lead has actually eroded very slightly, so it's now tied. But regardless of if somebody has a small advantage, all these states are within a couple of points. They could easily go either way. And I always say there could be a lot of movement in the final month, maybe even in the final week. Now let's look just at the national popular vote polls. Most of these have Harris with a lead. CBS and NBC have Harris up 4 and 5 respectively. Siena College has it tied at 47. Fox has Harris up 2, but Rasmussen has Trump up 2. Rasmussen's reputation is usually going to be favoring the Republicans. It doesn't mean they're wrong. Other pollsters may have a bias in the other direction, but that is the best poll here for Trump, and those are all just a head-to-head matchup. If you add in third parties, with Siena College, it's tied at 46. George Washington University and Harris X have Harris up 2 points, but if you add in third parties, then Harris goes up to 5. And Economist YouGov also has Harris up 4. And again, these are always just a snapshot. They could be outdated by 2, 3, maybe even 5 or 6 days. But so far, Harris maintaining the clear advantage in the popular vote. Let's look at some down ballot races. We've got the Senate. We've got California, not at all a race anybody's really talking about, but Schiff there with a 25-point lead. Pennsylvania with 800 likely voters from Mass Inc. polling group. Bob Casey up 7 points over David McCormick, 49-42. We've got updated polling in Virginia, and in that Senate race with 756 likely voters, Tim Kaine is up by 6 points, 49-43 over Hung Cao. Now in that same poll for president with likely voters, they actually had a low single-digit advantage for Harris over Trump. So maybe it's an outlier and it's too friendly for Republicans, or maybe they're picking up some genuine movement in that state. Now we've got a potentially under-the-radar race in Nebraska with 600 likely voters from Global Strategy Group. The sponsor here is for the Independent Party, and incumbent Republican Deb Fischer is only up 1 point over Dan Osborne, the Independent, 43-42. That's a race I know Democrats are much more excited about. I tend to think support for independent candidates fades by Election Day or on Election Day. We've seen it with Greg Orman. We've seen it with Evan McMullin. Doesn't mean Osborne can't make it closer, but I think it's too early to say it's actually going to be competitive there. Then we've got the Senate in Wisconsin. We've got Emerson, Morning Consult, and Marist College. And in all those, Tammy Baldwin is up between 3 and 7 points over Eric Hovde. Here's Pennsylvania Senate from a variety of different pollsters, and Bob Casey leads in all of them over David McCormick, up to 9 points in the Siena College poll. The best poll for McCormick here is going to be from the Washington Post, with over 1,000 likely voters. Just in the head-to-head matchup, they actually have it dead even at 48 apiece. It seems like easily the best poll I've seen from McCormick in a while. Based on these, that does seem like a little bit of an outlier. In Nevada, from Emerson and Morning Consult, they've got Jackie Rosen up 7 and 13 points respectively. That is a big gap there, and unless there's a late surge for Sam Brown, that could be a bit too much for him to overcome in the final month. Then we've got Michigan. Here, Alyssa Slotkin is up at least 5 points over Mike Rogers. The best poll for Slotkin is Morning Consult, where she's up a staggering 14, 51-37. Then we've got Arizona, and it's more good news for the Dems. Emerson has Ruben Gallego up 6. Morning Consult has him up another massive 14-point margin. And in Texas, Morning Consult, with over 2,700 likely voters. This is the first poll where we've seen Democrat Colin Allred leading Ted Cruz by 1 point, 45-44. So Democrats excited about that. Republicans think it's an outlier, and Morning Consult did a bad job in this poll. But then they also did Ohio, and they have Sherrod Brown up 2 points, 46 to Bernie Moreno's 44. And they also took a look at Maryland, and they've got Angela Alsobrooks up 12 points, 50 to Larry Hogan's 39. PPP also did the same thing, and they have Alsobrooks up 17. So maybe you like those pollsters, maybe you don't. There have been other polls that have shown it narrower for Hogan, but everybody always knew that's going to be a big uphill climb for Hogan. In Florida, Morning Consult has Rick Scott up 4 points, 46-42. And then UNH and Siena took a look at some of the bluer states on the East Coast. All easy double-digit leads there for the Dems. Now let's move on to some governor's races. We've got North Carolina, and it has been a pretty bad week here for Mark Robinson, the Republican candidate. He had already been trailing in the race, but now from 4 different pollsters, he's trailing anywhere from 5 to 13 points. His best is going to be with Victory Insights, and his worst, again, is going to be with Morning Consult. So unless something dramatic happens in that race, Robinson is going to have a really difficult path to victory. Maybe everything blows over by Election Day. Maybe Stein has some scandals of his own. Maybe there's a lot of silent Robinson voters voters that are waiting to come out for him. Either way, Stein is the clear favorite. Then we've got an updated general election poll for New Hampshire. This one is close, but Joyce Craig has the narrow 1-point lead, 47 to Kelly Ayotte's 46. It's going to be a great race to watch. Hopefully we'll get a lot of polling in the final month. In Indiana, with 1,000 likely voters from Emerson, Mike Braun leads Jennifer McCormick by 11 points, 45 to 34. In Missouri, Mike Kehoe leads Crystal Quaid by 16, 52 to 36. And then back in New Hampshire, from St. Anselm College, this one has Kelly Ayotte with a 3-point lead, 46 to 43. So some great races there. Let's finish it up in the U.S. House. And remember, this might be where you get some wider range in the quality of the polls. There's going to be lower sample sizes and much more partisan sponsors. But in California's 16th, it doesn't really matter what happens because it's going to go blue. But Sam Liccardo is up 14 over Evan Lowe, 42 to 28. And that sponsor has endorsed Liccardo. Then let's keep it moving in New Hampshire. Chris Pappas with a massive 17-point lead there, 52 to 35 for Russell Prescott. In the 2nd district, that's an open seat. Maggie Goodlander there, up 11 points, 49 to 38 over Lily Tang Williams. In that district on paper, I would expect to be a little bit bluer than the 1st. Then in Montana, from Noble Predictive Insights, only 432 likely voters. But Ryan Zinke is up 5 points over Monica Trinnell, 49 to 44. With third party, his advantage drops to 4. Then we could go back up to the Northeast into Maine. From Pan Atlantic Research, only around 400 likely voters. But in the 2nd congressional district, Republican challenger Austin Terrio, he apparently has a 3-point lead over moderate incumbent Democrat Jared Golden. That's 47 to 44. As of now, it doesn't look like Republicans have a lot of opportunities to expand the map in the House. But this is a district that Trump should win rather comfortably at the top of the ticket. If enough of that translates into this race, that could be a flip for the GOP. In the very blue 1st district, it doesn't really matter, but Shelley Pingree is up 25. Then we could go into the Midwest. We've got Iowa. And in that 1st district, it's tied between Marionette Miller Meeks and Christina Bohannon at 47. But this poll with 400 likely voters is sponsored by Bohannon, the candidate in this race. Then back in New Hampshire, from St. Anselm, this also confirms a double-digit advantage for the Democrats in those 2 House races. 11 for Goodlander in the 2nd and 12 for Pappas in the 1st. And finally, we'll finish it up in Wisconsin. In the 3rd district, freshman Congressman Derek Van Orden, he trails Democratic challenger Rebecca Cook by 2, 49 to 47. That poll has 400 likely voters, and the Democrats are behind the sponsoring of that poll. So that could be another close race and a potential pickup opportunity for the Dems. So that pretty much wraps it up. Of course, you could always scroll down further and go back in time, and it is time consuming, but in many cases, you can click on a lot of these polls and take a look at the crosstabs and the specific question wording. There's always going to be some data you can find that you like, that you don't like. Either way, we're still waiting to see how the national environment is going to shape up. For president, where it matters, it looks extremely close. On the Senate side, it looks like the Dems had a pretty good week with the polling. So we're going to keep following it, but that's it for this week 6 polling recap. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these polls? Do you think it's even in the battleground states for president? Do you think Dems are going to maintain their polling advantage in the Senate? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.